Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
And welcome to the Quantum.
It's the full magazine.
That's
done
right.
it. He's done it. Slow clap. Don't worry, I did it once too. Remember? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the whole magazine. It's been a little bit, but we're finally doing one. Yeah. How have y'all been?
I've been pretty okay.
You've heard him. That's Hayes there.
I see you literally every day of the week.
Oh yeah.
I don't need to tell the audience how I'm feeling.
But a lot of the times, no one ever goes like, "How is Walker?" And it feels sad. It feels bad, man.
They never ask what is Walker.
They go, "What is Walker?" But never, "How is Walker?" Because he says some crazy shit, and they're like, or he's like, "Actually," he does that shit. And they're like, what the fuck is Walker? Like, is he a Terminator?
I've had people come out of offices from like across the hallway or down the building, and they're just like, "Heard you talking about some weird stuff. I want to listen." Like, you don't need to go to therapy. You can just cry in public. Just order something really spicy. Just work through all your problems in public.
Who walked up?
To see a person.
That was Jones.
Right. But Jones is special because she loves us.
Just see a person just like crying, eating wings. Like, okay, maybe it's just spicy.
Really spicy.
But they're like scream crying. They're just getting.
Sir, are you okay? It's just really spicy.
Yeah, it's just really.
It's just the depression leaving the body.
Yeah, they're just
the spice goes in and the sad goes out.
Yeah, they're just getting the whole month out. Don't worry about them.
Why don't we just get right into
going past the glasses down
alcohol review? Yeah,
Go
everyone,
ahead and tell us
give
about
me your fancy Glencairn.
Yeah, we got some delicious. So
you don't know it's delicious yet.
Shut the fuck up. So we're told.
This is the alcohol review is my segment.
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
It is. It's always my segment.
No, that's not true.
I always talk about it.
It's always his segment.
It is always my segment.
You're wrong.
What about a gun review?
That's his segment too.
It depends on who has the most
No, it's always
with the gun.
your segment. It's always his.
That's not true at all.
You would say that.
It's whoever brings the fucking alcohol.
Oh wow, that's like usually Walker, the
It is
resident
also
alcoholic.
me.
No,
All right.
because since now, yes, because we've ran through my entire bar.
I mean, I
nothing
usually,
left.
anytime we have something interesting,
I think Breakall's been the other one that's brought the most.
he brought a couple things. He brought that cobbler flavor.
Yeah.
Rip to a real motherfucker.
Yeah, which was really good.
He's in a
Did he
better
bring,
place
like,
now.
An expensive.
It was
Yeah. Anyway,
the,
so this is Johnny Walker High Rye. So for those of you Scotch or whiskey stuff, a Scotch can be called High Rye if it has a very large amount of rye in it. Barley. So, yeah, it's not too expensive. Johnny Walker, so not like top shelf. I actually
That's really nice.
find it to be decent.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Leader.
Well, it's possibly also because we
A lot of vanilla.
Not me. I have a clean palate.
A lot of vanilla.
so there's a decent amount of vanilla. For me, like the flavor of the rye really comes through, and I actually really do enjoy
good.
rye whiskey. But also, it got a decent smoky like.
I was
flavor
about to say
it.
that.
the
Yeah,
smell also is.
it smells sweeter than it tastes.
Yeah,
and that's good.
it's
I
sweeter than
like
it
it that
tastes.
way. It's like I like Woodford. Don't get me wrong, but it is as sweet as it smells, which isn't always bad. But sometimes it's like I have too much of it, and I'm like,
That's great.
it's kind of like candy at that point. Yeah.
Well, I mean that
This is pretty
that Jameson orange that you brought us, that was remarkable,
very sweet.
and it was quite good. Walker, of course, had his opinion about it. I forget which episode.
I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it's bad whiskey.
Well, yeah, but as far as like the flavor, was
Well, I think orange and whiskey, well, citrus and
yeah.
by one of my favorite drinks. Or which I think this would be good in it.
No,
That'd
yeah,
be
I
interesting.
can see that. Very nice.
A lot of the time, whiskey sours aren't.
It's really it's a whiskey sour, not a bourbon. Good. I'm just giving. Absolutely stellar. Hayes, you have some stuff that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I got three different articles. Two of them are related. The other one's also rage-inducing.
Good.
But
It's been a while since I've been angry. We have this 4-day weekend. Day 2 of said weekend. Actually, no, that's a lie. Because yesterday I was quite sad. I have no one really to blame except myself for not trusting and verifying. And host Havoc, who is hosting. Uh, yeah, I lost like 8 hours of progress for
like
some
it, like
people.
it,
on the
it just
server.
reset the
Literally,
server.
like
Yeah,
this
it
is
basically
this
reverted
was
back.
us just like sitting down. I don't know what
I heard
like
you
on-
screaming through the wall. By the way.
Yeah, I don't know what it was like on Brandon's
he
side,
was
but it was
scolding me.
It was kind of like
Yeah, and he texted me at like 1 a.m. He's like, "Yo, Brandon's being retarded. You
Yeah.
should say something."
okay. I didn't text you at 1 a.m. You just may have got the text at 1, but I did text you way earlier on.
No, yeah, it was really aggravating. I lost my entire base, large
Okay, yeah, it was
ship, everything,
2200. Yeah.
everything. Like, post 2100 when Hazy Dewey tired, time dilation amplified for only him. You texted me at like 2 a.m. It was 22.
So, but this is like literally having sat down, like explained to. I'm sure he explained to Eve, like I'm sitting down and playing video games. Spent hours and hours playing video games. And then all of that progress was gone, and I was having fun too, which was the issue. Is like I was getting established.
And you know
Putting a
why
lot
he
of
was
work
having
into this.
fun?
Why?
Because of the mounting tension of the possibility of. That's the only reason
That's
why
it.
he is having fun.
That's it.
That's the only reason why he's having fun. PvE is no longer fun to him. It is purely I intend to kill people.
Well, PvE in Space Engineers is as easy as eating your body in spaceships and find a way
until
inside.
you get it.
Yeah, until you
you're
get
done.
inside.
Yeah. No, why waste ammo? Why waste ammo? But the I heard just on a little side tangent, fuck up. I heard they're adding some sort of because you have the remote control block, right, where you can do waypoints and stuff for your ship, so you can like record GPS waypoints. Have a remote control. It says, "Okay, go to this waypoint," and the ship will fly itself to that waypoint. Apparently, I saw something. They're intending on adding a specific block that basically turns whatever ship you put on into a actual AI. Like it turns it into an NPC, which can be assigned different tasks. So you can have it set to mining, transport, intelligent AI sort of shit. And
Drones.
knowing Keen Software House, maybe not. I don't know. I saw it was like a speculation video a while ago, and I was like, that'd be actually really cool because you can't really do that with remote. You can't necessarily. You can remote control it, of course, but you can't necessarily say go mine. It's just like go from point A to point. But I thought that was really. Yeah, I fucked up. Trusted the server settings. By the way, the host Havoc. If you're out there, doubt it. But if you're looking for a server host for like Space Engineers, beware of the default settings. So the issue was, I originally thought it was trash removal, which is like this automatic thing that the server does, where it looks at all the grids and stuff and sees which it can categorize as trash. And there's different variables that you can send to that. Okay, less than 20 blocks. That
Do you do this to make it run smoother?
Yeah. So
Okay.
like, if you just let it go, it just will clog the server.
Yeah, like so everything is saved. Everything like even if it's not, I think, rendered. And so that physics simulation is going on in the background. And if you have like after battles, random spaceship,
it already
around,
had
it'll chug.
It already had to trash removal for Lech. He left a gyroscope going, like billions, like cruising, like so it had to remove that. So it'll do shit like that.
That's my favorite bit of domestic terrorism.
Yeah,
throwing
Just
gyroscopes.
throw gyroscopes, which are if it's still the same as the previous version,
it's one of the
most
harder
toughest
blocks. Yeah, it's one of the toughest.
There was
blocks.
a time where videos in Space Heroes like gyroscope armor, all stupid shit. It's like, hey, it doesn't matter. You have 400 gyroscopes. If one falls off, it's working. It's armor. But yeah, the default settings I thought was the trash removal issue. No, it was the optimal grid count. Now the optimal grid count was set to a stupid number. Now basically anything that is so like 8 is considered a grid. Okay. So the game was set by default to 20. And naturally, each player could possibly have, at that point in time, like 3 or 4 grids. Like very likely. Okay.
Like build a
And
little
then
small grid scouting ship,
I'm
large grid mining,
it is
your
like
base ship.
yeah, it is very likely that the server was all it also counts the random spawn in like game things like the space pirates and anything like those that spawn in also are counted as those grids. And so when it reaches that 20 threshold, just fucking deletes it.
So,
And so whatever's
any ship.
anything, everything that we did was gone.
Ah.
So I fixed that now. Now it's at like I literally when I changed the setting, I was like fucking cursing. I was like 9999999. I pressed enter and it defaulted to like the
At
maximum
first-
possible.
At first, I was really pissed off because I was still playing and jumped on, and then I got off, and then he texted me. Like I saw him join the server, have issues, right? But he ended up getting in, and I just ended up heading off. And then immediately after I get off, he's like, "Yeah, basically just gonna have to reset to an earlier backup," and it was
So-
from before we even started playing that day.
So yeah, that's yeah. So now it's fixed because the maximum now is like 69,000 some odd grids that could possibly
Also,
be on the
this
server.
is this topic like, and
It's
there's gonna be
fine. It's a
out
talk
of
show.
the very small amount of people
With
who
any-
listen to this.
with any
there's gonna
luck-
be like 2 people that this
Yeah.
means anything to.
With any luck, they're gonna be like Space Engineers, and they're gonna look at it like, oh, that looks like a fun game. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I don't want
No,
to go
you're
on a little
good.
tangent.
No, that shit was funny because like I heard him yelling so much last night. I was
Yelling
like,
through the fucking
That's
walls.
crazy.
Cox, why are you so fucking retarded?
yeah, he
Just the fact that he didn't have to delete my stuff, but he did anyway.
See,
Like he's
he
like, well, now
says
everyone
delete.
has to
He
restart.
says
he
delete.
sends me texts. Brandon is now more retarded than you. Bully him for not knowing how to run a server and being a general retard.
and then you text me, Hayes. you were like, I hear or
I sense you are being cringe.
I sense you're being cringe.
To be fair, I was also pretty drunk.
I figured.
I knew he was
figured,
drunk,
yeah.
and then you
yeah.
just the Discord chat, the Discord conversation afterwards was really good. And I like legit after like 5 messages, like he's drunk.
Hmm.
Because
Well-
he started sending fucking emojis. It's like,
Oh.
oh, he's drunk.
Oh, wow.
Walker drunk.
That's a me thing. I do the ironic emojis. So,
Tell us these.
The first article we're going to talk about
oh.
is from the Atlantic. This one's like just like general rage stuff. The other stuff is a surprise that we'll save for later. It's also rage inducing, but like much worse. This one's like a feel good kind of angry, right? Because it's almost there's like a certain level of triumph involved here, like you were right, kind of a thing. So anyway, it's by Emily Oster, and I don't care if that's not how you say her name. She's kind of retarded. It's called "Let's Declare a Pandemic." Right. Let's focus on the future and fix the problems we still need to solve. Right. And this was in October 31st. So this is a little old, but we haven't had an episode in a while. Anyway, so it goes like this. In April 2020, with nothing else to do, my family took an enormous number of hikes. We all wore cloth masks that I had made myself. We had a family hand signal, which the person in the front would use if someone was approaching on the trail, and we needed to put on our masks. Once, when another child got too close to my then 4-year-old son on a bridge, he yelled at her, "Social distancing!" Right? These precautions were totally misguided. In April 2020, no one got the coronavirus from passing it to someone else on a hike. Outdoor transmission was vanishingly rare. Our cloth masks were made out of old bandanas that wouldn't have done anything anyway. But the thing is, we didn't know. They just didn't know.
What's the name of the
That's-
person who wrote this?
Emily Oster. What website? What blog
This
that?
is the Atlantic, right?
The
So this is
Atlantic.
like high pedigree.
Where is that regionalized to?
No. The Atlantic is a national
Oh,
like
okay.
magazine kind of thing. Generally speaking, where it falls in the culture is like high class, hoity-toity kind of like, aspirational people that want to be upper class will read this.
Oh,
So-
that's hilarious.
Yeah, so this is like upper class outreach.
That
the-
is the most hilarious thing ever. And what's hilarious about that is like we were immediately skeptical about how like the moment that they said if you don't have access to like N95s and shit like that,
Yeah.
you can just use cloth masks, and immediately everyone was like, "No, that's bullshit. No, that's not how that works. That's stupid." And then now she's like, "We didn't know." Well, maybe you didn't, woman, but maybe everyone else did. She's obviously liberal, like.
Oh, for sure. Anyone that would write for
Anyone
the
who
Atlantic,
would like promote their child screaming such retardations at people.
the only person that would call
Obviously.
themselves conservative that would ever write for a rag like this is the kind of person that wants to gatekeep real solutions, right? Like, remember the Never Trumper crowd? It's the same kind of people. So she goes on to say stuff about like, oh, well, we didn't have a lot of data about, this type of vaccine versus the other type, and there just wasn't enough data, and we just had to make a good call at the time, blah, 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 right? And she says, given the amount of uncertainty, almost every position was taken on every topic. And on every topic, someone was eventually proven right, and someone else was proved wrong. In some instances, the right people were right for the wrong reasons. In other instances, they had a persistent understanding of the available information. The people who got it right, for whatever reason, may want to gloat. Oh, trust me, we are gloating, and we're not
Okay,
going to forgive
let's
this shit.
take apart
Fuck
that.
you,
Let's
lady.
take
No.
Let's take apart that for a second. Is she said, we didn't have enough information about the vaccines.
We just couldn't know.
We couldn't know. That is exactly what everyone was saying who was against the vaccines, why it's sketchy.
Yeah, what little information we had was like bad.
It's amazing.
And it was like, no, we don't want that.
I love that so much.
But
Good
see,
for her.
but-
Good for her.
Good
That's
for her
the
for like,
brain.
yeah, right.
Using the brain herself now for once. That's
Right,
crazy.
but no, she's not using it in the right way, right?
Mhm.
Watch this, right? Because
Not
we're
using it
using
the
it the
right
wrong
way.
way, right? The people who got it right for whatever reason may want to gloat. Those who got it wrong for whatever reason may feel defensive and retrench into a position that doesn't accord with the fact. Well, I'll tell you what. That's what this sounds like. Oh, we need amnesty? Nah, bitch. We're going to get you. We're going to get you, all of your friends. We're going to get
Yeah.
you. Your time's up.
Ace, who's we and what are you saying?
He's just yelling at me now.
What are you talking about?
So basically, if
You're
there's
not-
lawsuits
You're
out
not going to
there,
do anything.
oh, I'm not going to do nothing.
Yeah. You're not going to do anything.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I love how like
I don't want any
So
amnesty
far-
for that shit.
so far.
Fuck you. Get
and that's the thing
fucked.
we're seeing now is like all of liberaldom, liberalia, I'll call it, sort of like their own ecosphere, like bullshit, is now they're all saying this shit about COVID. They're coming to what everyone was immediately saying the moment the vaccines came out. We're starting to be told to wear fucking cloth masks. It all just reverts to what is correct. This situation, not everything reverts to what's true, but COVID definitely.
This is not the first time that this sort of pattern has emerged.
I really wish there was a visual segment. Just found something completely off topic, but as I was letting Hayes rant and just looking through things, there was at a Dallas air show,
I saw that.
1763
Yeah.
got destroyed.
Ugh.
Nobody else can.
Yeah, we'll
You can just look it up.
describe it. Just look up this video.
You fuck up.
Oh shit! Yeah, on a bank, and that P70 just comes in.
So it's like a P39 or a P60. Unless maybe it's hard to tell, but that's like the right shape, I think. My years of a Worthlander playing. But it could also be a P. Anyway, that's not important. What's important is that's 2 World War II warbirds. I'm pretty sure everyone involved in that.
No
Just from
way.
watching
You
that
walk away
video,
from that.
yeah.
No
I'm
way.
pretty sure they all died. This is just like a huge tragedy on like a historical note with flying warbirds. That many of them left. There's less every year. Yeah, I'm not sure which B7.
At some point, they're going to ground them all. Like, frankly, like, there's just no way.
Well, I mean, if they
Well, you heard what happened with the FAA up here, right? There was a crash with a Sea Otter brand of seaplane. A rear actuator, tail fin, failed and caused the crash. So the FAA was being urged to FAA are those people?
no. I just looked at.
The FAA was like being told Washington, because they immediately go to the totalitarian. They're like, you need to ground all of these Sea Otter planes. somebody was just like, no, we'll put out a notice that says, hey, you need to inspect this part. Slowly raises his finger above
Yeah.
desk, like, go fuck yourself.
Why couldn't we all have done that during the pandemic?
Yeah, right. It's
fucking
been
real.
like, fuck you. But no, because then you just get denied service. Just bend the knee. It's all a mess. But it's over.
Oh, it's over now.
For
Right,
now.
right. And here's the best part of the article.
Until monkeypox.
This-
No one's.
this-
I think.
oh.
Hold on. Let me.
Wait. What was the one
no,
that
no,
like
until-
kids were getting, and then
so
we couldn't talk about
so
that?
RSV.
No. The
No,
kid.
monkeypox.
It was
Yeah.
monkeypox?
So, but
Okay,
monkeypox
yeah.
isn't going to shut down the country.
No,
It might just
they
be COVID
tried.
again because I think Wuhan closed down. That's why oil futures are trying to start doing lockdown.
I think with whole monkeypox thing is like the media was trying to cast out that line, but no one was fucking biting.
No.
They were
People
just
were
like,
biting because they were
no.
like, "Oh wait, kids are getting
No.
infected with it. How does that work?"
Well, no, the LGBT community bit because it was mostly affecting them.
But then it was affecting kids.
Yeah, how do you
Put the
how do you riddle
puzzle
that?
pieces together.
How do you riddle that?
Mm.
Any whoozled.
So the best part of the article, she says, all of this gloating, all this defensiveness used to gobble up a lot of social energy, drive the culture war, especially on. That's the problem that she ultimately has with what's going on. Is people were vindicated and others were blown the fuck out. Right? You retards were wrong, and now a lot of people are just like calling you retarded on the internet.
So
Right.
the issue this woman has is the fact that she wasn't lied to, but the fact that
Right. And they were right for the wrong reasons. Like she
because
literally
of
says
their
it.
viewpoint.
They didn't trust the
Because of their
science,
viewpoint.
even though the science was wrong.
They didn't blindly trust anything. That's the reason.
You weren't religious enough in this fake religion that we like.
I'm sorry, honey. We got snacks for the podcast, and
We have what?
Eve just Eve just brought these Chips Ahoy home last night.
Oh no!
And so I brought them in here for the podcast.
They're gone.
And she was like,
They're all
"There they
gone."
are." She opens the office door and she sees them. She walks in and grabs the rest out of the container.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that they're all gone, seeing how many you guys. Oh, like just
Yeah,
half. Like they come
that's
in the little like cylinders
first
that are
that I've had.
separated. And I just saw you earlier pull out like
It's
an
the
entire
first-
half of them.
I had to. Those are the first ones I've ever had. Yeah, I love that. I am angry not because I was lied to or given misinformation,
But because you were
but
right,
because you were
and,
right
and it
and
wasn't
you're
fair.
conservative.
It's not fair that you knew somehow.
so good. I love
There
that.
will be no amnesty.
It just really.
You're all gonna get punished somehow. Like it doesn't matter if you
I
like
hate
forcibly
Nothing
made.
is going to happen.
No, fuck you. It's gonna happen.
What are you going to do?
Don't worry about it.
From
Nothing.
from a listener who wants us to talk about women's rights. Yep.
Why?
I have no idea.
What
Probably,
about them?
probably,
Like,
I
wait,
think,
what specific?
I
You
think-
can't just talk about women's rights. Like, what is
I think
you
the
wanna know?
context of
What rights
how-
do women have that men don't?
Exactly. I think it was that. It's that context
That
of
the-
how
okay.
how feminists are still somehow arguing that men have more rights than women, and we don't even have to look anything up. This is so well known
If
at this
anything,
point.
women have so much more cultural
They
power
do.
There's no
over
one.
men.
What
that
are we
it's
even
like,
going to talk about? Like, there's no one to.
No, it's simple. Like
There's no one to discuss this with.
There. Well, we'll just wait for the next podcast.
I guess so.
I
guess we
know,
do- I
Big
guess we-
sad. I know you guys are such fucking pussies. It's
I'm not.
hilarious.
What
Why
the
don't
fuck?
we just talk about it on the next?
Yeah, we'll do that
We
then.
have someone
So,
to talk.
hello, audience member who recommended this. We'll talk about it on the next.
He's lying.
Yeah.
We'll forget about it.
No, I'll write it down right now.
He's not writing it down.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll make him write something down.
So,
What's the timestamp?
24.
Maggot. Oh, don't. do
Oh
that,
shit!
Why? What's wrong?
because you're going to.
No, wait.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
no.
No, I heard Walker said faggot. I mean, oh shit! I said it too. Now I'm gonna get canceled.
It's okay. I'm allowed to say it because I'm gay.
Oh fuck!
Called it. Okay. What other thing?
You know what?
Why?
Changed my mind.
You were
You
ranting
have,
so much about
who's
something
your favorite,
that didn't matter.
Who's your favorite actor, Hayes?
Favorite actor.
I want to see how wrong you are.
My favorite actor is I don't know.
I love that premise. I want to see how wrong you are. It's like, what's your favorite food? Apples?
I wanna
You're
see
wrong.
your-
Have you ever tried pizza?
You're a fucking idiot. How dare you? Apples? What, are you gay? There's pizza in the world.
Are we talking
Ever
about
tried
the
it?
guy who like just died? Batman voice.
I saw
Wow,
that,
his-
and I
do you-
quickly scrolled through. Yeah, the original voice of Batman from the cartoons, right?
Cool.
Yeah, he passed away. Moving swiftly on, I didn't know, it was not a part of mine. Hearts go out to him, death sucks. Hope their family is doing well.
I legitimately don't care.
Yeah,
People are
that's
dying
why
right
I'm
now
moving on.
as we speak.
Yes,
don't care.
by dozens of numbers, and if they're Chinese and baby and female, they are, as they're born, they're dying. Oh, well, that got dark and macabre.
You did that.
So, who's your
Didn't get
favorite?
dark.
It is your
You
fault.
made it
Who's your
dark.
favorite
Yeah.
artist? Yeah, I turned off the light and I turned it back on. Deal with it. Singer,
I'm think-
songwriter.
You know what? Let's just go with Frank Sinatra. I
Frank
like
Sinatra?
like his music.
What about you?
I
Do I dare ask?
don't care
Yeah,
about
I mean,
don't care.
okay, what's your favorite song?
Why do you ask?
Literally just making conversation with you. Fucking absolutely.
Oh, you're trying to artificially
vapid.
recreate the
You
sheds.
vapid.
Oh.
You can't.
Vapid
It's just a
people.
simulation.
You can't force motivate.
I'm not
not
forcing. I'm just
real.
trying to spur a conversation. It's the most
Ugh.
difficult thing with you people. I swear to God.
Oh yeah, we only talk about
the
this.
the moment you get a headset and a mic in front of your face, you guys like
No, you're not talking about anything
like
interesting.
1945
There's
like
nothing-
housewife who
There's
hasn't been
nothing
spoken
interesting.
to yet.
You wish. You
No,
fucking wish.
No, I don't.
You-
1945
back.
was
No,
after women.
Take it back.
Suck my dick.
1945
No.
was after women got the what's it called? They got universal suffrage. So you have to go back.
Yeah.
Sorry, 1925.
I don't want you to vote anymore, Brandon.
Didn't it happen in
No.
1920? Like 100 years.
I have no idea. Been a
Too long.
That's women. There we go. We're talking about women's rights. It's been like 102 years.
It all
stuff.
comes full circle.
So why don't you talk about something interesting?
Yeah.
about
how
that?
about you help
Fucking-
me with that, you
No,
dickheads?
it's
'Cause
your show.
While I'm making
You're
the
the
show,
host.
while I'm
You're
making
literally
this
the
your
host.
responsibility.
while I'm making this cut sheet, I'm like, hey, what do you guys want to talk about?
about?
Hayes is the only motherfucker that gives me an answer, and Walker's there just like,
Well, you know what?
I
It
didn't
would
think
be
about
so
anything.
difficult
I
if you
was
would just tell
promised-
us what you want.
I
don't
wanted to
know.
talk about alcohol,
I-
and I did.
Let's talk about more alcohol.
I already talked.
How about that
it.
batch we're not making? Why is that not
Yeah.
happening?
Huh.
You can make more spruce beer.
Yeah.
Do it.
Oh.
Now all of a sudden you don't want to talk about it.
Oh.
See? Suck my dick.
What's your favorite plane?
I think the B-58 is pretty cool.
Now,
I think the B-36 is cool.
Now, I just got flush with rage. I
And the-
might be red right now.
And the F-106
you could,
is cool.
if you could see my ears, they would be red because I just got reminded of something you said
Oh,
while we were talking about earlier in the week, and how wrong you are and incorrect.
about
I'm literally just stirring the pot right now. About in space,
Yeah.
right? Having guns,
yes. Oh,
and
right.
how you can,
right.
possibly counteract the rotation that you would get from
some
shooting
of the
with the
rotation.
cheek
Keyword.
weld, and you said, okay.
You just have another gun that's attached to your
let-
foot, and every
let-
time you fire forwards, it just counteracts.
My idea was a lot worse.
Let's just have a hole on the top of the barrel that
Takes some
when
of
you
the
fire
vented
takes
gases.
the gas
Some.
and shoots it out.
Some, not all, some.
Because that will
It could literally be all. I mean, it wouldn't literally be all because you couldn't do that, but
that would literally
that's just like a ported barrel. That's how we do recoil mitigation on Earth.
yeah.
Fine, it works. Like science is trusted.
Oh,
and
Yeah,
proven.
shit. I was right?
on Earth.
That's
But the issue
crazy.
is you're up here.
And it's
This
gonna
is not
work.
center of mass. You're gonna start flipping.
It's probably not as big of a deal. I think recoil doesn't have that much actual.
And like you
On
mentioned in
Earth,
the
right?
parking
Have you been in
lot,
space with
hey,
a gun? As
So-
much as you would like to.
you have the same
listen,
amount
he
of
would-
mass.
as
he
much
would-
as
he
you
would-
you
he
mentioned
would-
this in the parking lot, that
he-
the mass of the round leaving the gun
Yeah.
is more of has more of an impact on your velocities than the gas does. But we can counteract that, right? Just the gas problem that can be.
I mean,
You can solve that. It's easy.
the other
maybe.
thing is, if you're thinking
Maybe.
about it, you could have special space load cartridges which have much less powder capacity because you
Yeah.
necessarily need to
Do
get
that.
the same velocity
Do that.
for the same terminal ballistics. So, it like the idea of using guns in
I want
space.
the,
Everything is like you don't just choose one way to fix things. You're not two-dimensional. You can solve problems.
I raised
multiple.
I raised one. I raised one to Hayes. I said, the hole. Just put another cartridge that the bullet upwards.
That would
Bang!
That wouldn't work.
Bang!
You would need a second barrel
You
too.
would shoot yourself
Yeah,
by
that's fine.
accident.
Make one.
The other thing
too complicated
is,
for
where are you
soldiers.
going to be shooting in space that you're also probably...
I'm going to be purposely
what's
in
what's-
orbit, right? And I see England coming. I go, British in it, and I start firing down upon
here's
England.
the other thing. When you take, like, you probably could just take like a bog standard firearm into space. Use that.
Oh yeah.
The reason why is, where are you going to be? You are not going to have some form of anchor. Like, you're not going to be floating around in space with a fucking jetpack. And if you are, then there you go. There's your recoil mitigation. You have a jetpack.
In the future, yeah. I mean, of course, we'll have the RCS things and the jetpacks. But the thing is like, say, like, we have the future. Let's advance like 100 years, and we have like actual space marines and shit.
Okay.
And
you know what the space station has?
They're like, I'm gonna jump.
So
No. I know what you're going.
What's the?
They're in a drop ship. They park next to a spacecraft.
I just want to know what the environment is. Where are you?
So you're in a spacecraft, right? You're in your drop ship.
Where?
In orbit. We're in space. What the fuck you on about?
Okay.
Okay, you're in orbit. Space Marines load up on dropship. Okay, they go from their home station. They're trying to attack a satellite or a station, right? They pull up. Okay, they have their RCS thrusters, whatever. Okay, and they jump out. They're going towards the enemy station. They're just free falling, or they're just free floating. And they have to fire.
Okay, so
they have jetpacks.
Question. Statement really. That's not like a militarily sound tactic. Why would you do this when you could just like use a directed energy weapon or a charged particle beam?
Because it doesn't make good TV.
Yeah. So if there's something that you want to capture, right, you're probably going to want to capture hard facilities on the ground.
We're going to have
on a celestial body.
You're going to look at the control stations for said satellite.
There's no reason for me to send Marines to the space station and get involved in like a fucking like shipboarding action, when I could just use a directed energy weapon to burn off the solar panels. Oh,
well, if you're trying to take it over, now you have to fix it.
No, you don't. Well, I mean, you do have to fix it, but the easiest thing is
you have to fix it either way.
Get rid of. Yeah, you're gonna have to fix it. You're shooting fucking bullets inside. Right. It's probably a lot easier to bolt a new solar panel to it. So if you like destroy the solar panels, they're fucking dead.
If you don't,
you just wait.
They got batteries.
You don't have.
Oh my god, that's the future
of
that's the future of sieges. It's in space, and you shoot off their solar panels, and that's like their attrition.
It's gonna be a 2-day siege. Like it's gonna be
so. And if they have an RTG or they have some kind of reactor, like it's gonna have to be exposed via radiators. So you could just melt the radiators instead.
You'll know where it is.
Well, you could just melt the radiators,
or you could just wait for them to run out of food.
Break it.
Because literally, there's no reason to send Marines there until after they're dead. Because you can either destroy the cooling or you can destroy their power generation. Either way, anything that's sticking off, they need the radiators or they need solar panels.
I want there's big space net. Shoot it. Wrap around the station.
The other thing,
yeet.
The other thing with like these free floating like spacesuit like boarding actions, why that wouldn't work is because if you look at the technology that we have now on Earth, right? So no charged particles, which are way easier to do with higher like output. They did this back when like Reagan era with Star Wars program. You can just have a fusion reactor hypothetically in 100 years, right? Even though it's continually 20 to 50 years away. But so you have
perpetually.
Yeah. So or maybe just even a nuclear salt reactor, right? So liquid salt nuclear reactor. So you can have a lot of power generation on these things with radar, because that's how they do docking in space. Radar still works in space. You're going to see people. They're going to be floating towards you slowly, and you have a laser.
I think I think we would still have.
There's not going to be like
relying heavily on like.
Well,
I think
probably, but at the same time, if I'm worried about fucking space marines jumping onto my space station, you know what the way for me to deal with that's going to be? Cheapest way?
You would have
like a 50 kilowatt laser.
Well, yeah.
I will burn a hole in your space.
What would be pretty cool is to have like your long range shit be your kilometer. That would be your sort of long range attack, and then maybe within 1,000 meters would be your kinetic weaponry.
Well, the
Because your drop off.
and I would recommend that you probably look at. You don't have to play the game, but maybe like look at gameplay of Children of a Dead Earth. That's kind of realistic. The creator of that game didn't program like a lot of seeking work with radar and that like probably everything's based on all kinds of inaccurate. But for the most part, that as far as video games go, is probably the most realistic that we have, and that's your long range is you literally shooting a torpedo out, right?
Yeah,
Like
your
another
long-range
spacecraft
missiles, yeah.
with a nuclear bomb attached to it, and in front of that nuclear bomb is a tungsten plate.
Yeah.
And then you just send that at people
Goodbye.
at like as fast as you
Because
can
like
manage.
our I think
Because it's
people
terminally
favorite-
guided. The issue is I can shoot at you from long distance, just like you could on like old naval battle, right? Thing is now that we're moving in 3-dimensional space, so easy to dodge. And if you're just doing kinetic,
I think the
like, you may as well use something that's terminally guided. If you're
Yeah.
use something terminally guided, you basically
or
just have
it's even
missiles.
better, just use lasers.
Just going to be missiles. Well, the thing with lasers is that they diffuse a lot over range, and
That's the great thing about lasers is much less than your
So-
lasers don't have the same like Gray law.
so laser guided munitions
As-
today are and
Right.
There's a way to get around
No,
it.
no. I'm not meaning like laser
No,
guided.
I'm not.
Like
I know what you
laser
mean.
weapon.
I know what you mean. Right? But lasers, right? You can hypothetically, because you're going to be at such a distance where someone's launching lasers, you could also just launch a missile at them. Laser is going to be used enough to not necessarily be start getting
What's
to
diffusing
really,
laser?
So you're well. One, you can do it yourself if you really want to. How you block a laser guided weapon? You have a white phosphorus smoke canister, pop them out like a tank, right? You can make smoke that. Then, if let's say you're not doing that, what?
How much? Now that's the question: is how much gas would you
Not that much. If it
possibly do that?
so
in
depending on what like militaries would ban, probably gonna be ultraviolet. That much smoke, like a lot of ultraviolet. Also can ablative coverings.
pretty certain that the
So like you can use ablative or a silica aerogel.
base would
or,
have a different effect on how.
Yeah,
Fairly
but
certain
it's
it
like
would also like
you're literally
dissipate
not
much
heating
faster.
up my spacecraft as long as that gas is there.
which might not be very long.
It's gonna be. It's you don't have to make like a white phosphorus grenade like they do now in the gas everywhere. You can
Constant.
fog machine.
I mean, the good thing is
But
like we have.
so getting back to what I'm talking about, there's so many ways to counter laser. Longer the distance you go, they're still gonna work. Still gonna be able to go at you very
well,
quickly.
yeah, like and like
And
good sci-fi.
The other
like,
thing
The
is when you ask
Expanse,
what's that your containments, they're not going in a straight line. So at like tens of thousands of kilometers, instead of having a like millimeter dot of like that's where all 50 kilowatts or all 100 megawatts or whatever power scale you're using, depending on what year it is. At several thousand kilometers, it could be as big as like a human, spreading out the entirety of the energy over a larger area. Use materials like ablative coverings, so ablative armor, it's just going to boil that away instead of damaging you.
we are still able to use the reflectors that were placed on them.
Yeah.
But the largest issue of how
You're-
that is being
you're
diffused is literally the atmosphere of the Earth.
So you're literally a SATCOM tech, right? You understand the energy levels out RF fucking small. So if you're just using like light is the same as RF essentially, it's just smaller wavelengths. It's still electromagnetic radiation. The reason why you can use the retroreflectors on the moon, shoot a laser out there, get a return. It's not like enough to
Well, yeah, it's
blind
not a
you.
lot.
It's detectable.
Yes. But if I'm making a weapon, that's just going to kilowatt.
Yeah.
Just like how we have like
okay,
those
so you're just pushing the engagement range out farther.
What is that weapon or not weapon, it's really just a like UAV laser weapon I have on board right now.
L something high energy
Something
laser.
like that.
Yeah.
Like forget the rating for that. How energetic?
Most right now are in the 50.
50 kilowatts. inner atmosphere is able to destroy a target, or it becomes necessarily a bigger
but you're
issue.
not getting the scale of the.
We're also talking about paper
Well,
mache,
yeah,
like
of course.
airplanes
Like,
versus like
where I think we're all
hardened
versus
steel
literally
bathtubs.
I
Like
think
if I'm gonna be using enough money to build fucking spaceships that have weapons on them, then I'm also going to be able to do things like coat them in expensive materials like silica aerogel or things that are very resistant. At that point, the way that you're doing damage to things is by heating it up.
Yeah.
And
ablation.
and then there's never going to be a time where it's like, well, lasers just fucking kill things all the time. No, you're just pushing
No,
the
it's
engagement
just-
range
it's
out
just-
farther.
Well, I think no.
I feel like lasers
I mean, I
are
agree
gonna
with
have
you.
like two main roles. I think, like, of course, point defense, be obvious. I think also like destroying sensors would be another.
Well, that's so. If you read a lot of sci-fi, that happens a lot. The moon is a cruel or moon is a harsh mistress. Heinlein. One of the ways that they deal with spaceships by using it's by using like lasers to burn off the landing radar, so they find. Yeah, so they just crash into the moon.
I think no, I agree with you totally. Like at range is very, very significant because no shit. Obviously, like laser diffusion is gonna be a problem. Torpedoes are gonna be your long range shit. Like something that is guided itself. But like like lasers
are probably
as
not going to
point
be
defense.
a main
Yeah, no.
spacecraft
No,
killing
it's not
weapon.
gonna be like what you're gonna use, but like close in, you're gonna want something that's high energy and at close range, 15 kilowatt lasers, pretty damaging. And plus, I'm assuming you would have some sort of sophisticated targeting mechanism. Probably go, depending on your intel that you have on your enemy, where they are lacking armor. That
So, and then again,
Kinetic does such a great job.
So depending on
time.
the range to the target, like how big of a dime or like so how big of like a circle you can put that's just energy hitting the target, you might not be able to aim at specific things. You might just be hitting a spacecraft.
Have you seen the show of The Expanse?
Yes.
Yeah, I love how they did the PDs in that like universe. Just their fucking sheer like rate of fire is so fucking good, and the effects that they do, where like bullets are ripping through ships and everything, it's just so. It just looks so good too.
Yeah, I mean, as far as visual effects go,
it's a pretty good show.
You probably wouldn't be able to be in a where one of those projectiles
is
runs
just
through
zipping through.
Because
it would just
like
be,
there's no spall coating; it just runs.
It'd just
through.
be bad.
It would. I mean, you might survive,
and that's the thing is like in the universe, like given a certain distance, the battles are quick because of that reason. Like the battles are fast because
like I've seen parts of
it's
it where
so
they
damaging.
What's it? Whatever ship they have.
Yeah, the Rocinante.
Yeah, you start shooting through the enemy.
Recoilless,
like automatic recoilless rifles, basically.
Yeah, and like it just wrecks, and that's why those battles are so quick at close distance. But at range, they fire torpedoes. They do some sort of skirmishing shit. They maybe close in because their PDs also attack the.
Wonder how like realistic that is with everything basic, and that ships also make them thicker.
That's the thing is like they still have to worry about. First, this is like still have to worry about weight. Weight is still a big factor in everything.
Yeah, like for fuel consumption. Yeah,
but like those the larger like battleships in the universe, they have significant because they have like like they do scalp the armor, but then again, like the enemy's weapons.
Yeah, but at the same time, you get up to a certain velocity where you just have to put a very, very thin, like couple millimeter shield of whatever material in front of your main armor. Whatever impacts is going to immediately turn to plasma.
Yeah.
So,
and it's
you're going to be pushing it up to the point where the velocity of a kinetic weapon is going to hinder it. That's why you just got to do the old tungsten plate in front of a nuke.
I imagine
you can't stop a tungsten plate traveling at 50 kilometers a second.
Even though like targeting, like we have like the issue of gravity for our long distance targeting. In space, you just have inertia on your side. The issue is like, yes, you not only can move this left and right, you have your elevation as well.
Gravity is not,
I imagine
gravity's not really the consideration.
Yeah.
Kind of weapon.
Yeah. But gravity is also gonna. It's all of it. It's all of it. It's bringing it back down to earth.
Like you would have an insanely much higher range
Yeah,
if there was no
if there
air
was no air,
resistance.
yeah.
You basically don't even have to consider gravity. Like you do for like, oh, I have to aim above them, but it's not a limiting factor in range right now.
But
Like air is
the
just so much more important.
the major point is you don't have to worry about any of that.
You
The
don't
only
have to
thing
worry about gravity.
is just like not at the relative distance engaging.
Yeah, you do, because what if I'm on the other side of Jupiter launching missiles at you? Gotta
Well,
worry about
yeah, that's just
what
it.
the
I'm
firing
talking
arcs
about.
are.
I'm
You're just
talking
gonna have to
about.
worry about gravity.
I'm talking about PDs, not missiles. I'm talking about like we are still close
Okay, so
close engagement.
if I'm next to a planet at all, going to be significant gravity on these projectiles. There, because like if let's say it's fast enough that my 1 second out, let's say you can lead accurately 1 second, and that's your point at whatever distance that is. No matter how fast it's going, there's going to be effect fire prograde or retrograde what on the actual trajectory of
At
these. The
rel-
gravity is always going to be
Yeah, at
you're going to
those
have to account.
relatively close distance, it is you still have to account for it, but it's not going to be that detrimental to the. It's not going to complicate things nearly.
I mean, you're going to
to a
need a
certain extent.
dedicated fire control system,
Well, yeah, you're gonna need,
specifically taking into account the local gravity.
yeah, but if you are also imparting your momentum and your velocity onto rounds, and so
Yes.
they would still effectively travel straight to your target. Again, like we're
No.
not talking about on the other side of a planet. Like you can see the fucker, you see them, you can fire at them. It would still,
I mean, depending on how fast these things are going,
yeah, that's all dependent. And if you're in interplanetary space, like even better, like you are firing directly at the mother. That's it. The only thing that's changing is their velocity, and that's what you account for how they're moving. Other than that, like it's super fast. Have you seen The Expanse at all, Hayes?
A little bit.
A little bit. The there was another thing I never seen Dune. I have the book. I've never seen it. How was that?
I actually really liked it.
Yeah, it seems more of like your
Yeah,
realm.
I don't like the whole like transhumanism, the great kind of shit. I like the man will never get over this, and this is unusual.
so
Like
this is not my real opinion, but I'm going to say it in the case hopes that it annoys. Basically, the main character from Dune is just the dollar store version of Skywalker.
I guess so. I mean, that's not like
That's annoyed someone out there.
we
Someone
needed-
who's
That's
a
not
fan of Dune is annoyed right now.
because like like a lot of old sci-fi.
We needed
is
to talk about that.
absolutely like
Remember that movie I told you about?
which one?
Is a ripoff of a. So there's that new movie that is out with Harry Styles in it.
Oh,
Yeah, you remember now. So it's
yeah.
this new Harry
Yeah.
Styles movie that all the women are absolutely losing their minds over.
Hold on, let me look it up. I forget.
Yeah, give me the title. Pull that shit up, Jamie. All the women are losing their fucking minds over this movie. And if you sit down, it took me like 5 minutes really of like haphazardly like kind of paying attention. And my wife explained the premise to me. And I was like, oh, it's The Matrix.
Don't worry, darling.
Don't Worry, Darling is the name of it. And basically the premise of the show, actually, the spoiler, I really don't get. Hey,
Spoil it.
folks, fast forward a bit if you don't want me to spoil this god awful movie. So basically the premise is that there's this company that created this alternate reality thing. Basically, wear a helmet and you go under this like sleep thing and you live in this world. And it's basically for men who have failed their wives in some sort of way, cheating financially, whatever. They take their wives to this world so that way they can live out this perfect idolized world that the men control. And they basically the plot is that this woman tries to find it out and tries to escape. Blah blah blah. It is literally the Matrix. It is literally the principle of the Matrix.
But men bad.
But men bad. It is literally the Matrix for women. I thought it was the most hilarious shit. Also,
what was that shit that happened in
apparently-
the theaters that you told me?
yeah, I was just about to say that. Apparently, when the movie was shown in theaters, and of course, like 80% of the audience was women, anytime there was a remotely sexual scene between Harry Styles and his character wife, they started booing and yelling. And
Women hate other women.
and
I
yeah,
can't
Eve
say
tells
it
me
any other way.
Eve tells me that apparently in some theaters they had to close the showing because it got really bad. Because women were getting that upset
It's so fucking
that
dumb.
someone that they've never met or ever will likely ever never be with
Both people
is kissing and having movie sex with somebody.
not real
Sometimes
sex.
sometimes my crush acts like they're not single. I don't like that.
Absolutely
it-
hilarious.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it was literally the Matrix for women. I thought it was the hilarious shit. Like they ripped off the Matrix.
Well, you know what else was ripped off? Like not even that long ago
and instead of like,
was like The Last Samurai.
so they
But
have
like James Cameron made more money.
they have their like place to live, which is like a remote, like it looks like a model village, a model city, like 1945. Like it looks like when they design like the cities in like suburban areas for nuclear testing. That's what it looks like. Okay, it's just like this remote thing in the middle of a fucking desert, and they have a model. Okay, and this is like why this movie is fucking okay. You look out away from this residential area, and there's nothing but desert. Okay. However, there is a model, one of the houses in like the head honcho's house, that shows the city, and then way over here, there's the headquarters, which thus gave the whole plot. If it wasn't for that single fact,
Right, she would have never
the
known.
whole plot would have
Right.
not worked because they put the headquarters is over here. So she goes to the headquarters, right? She touches that's the way out. That's like the pill. Whatever. Or they destroy the machine. So she touches the headquarters. She passes out the first time or whatever. And I'm sure at the end of the movie she finds her way out. And I was like, oh my fucking God. Like that bit of stupid writing right there is so stupid. You have this secret sort of like plan, and you basically have a model with something, because the whole idea is like, you're not supposed to leave. It's dangerous outside in the desert. It's a fucking desert. Like, no one's gonna walk away the desert. And the whole idea here is that, so
wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
When Harry goes to work, right, is he leaving the simulation to do real work in the real world? And then he's the only one with a car because like women can't drive in 1950s America. Is that what's going on here?
I have no idea. I watched like the first 20
I'm
minutes.
thinking about watching it just so I can just.
I watched the first 20 minutes. And I went in here and played. Yeah, it was really interesting. I was like, oh, it's the Matrix, and then Eve and her friend. Oh wow. Man bad can't no. Yeah, I always thought the premise, like, it's such a feminist movie. It's like not even fucking. These men failed their wives, so they had to take them away to a fantasy land in order to make them happy. But lo and behold, she knew.
She wasn't happy anyway.
She knew something was up.
Movie going on about how no matter what lengths a man goes to make he will never.
Crazy. How'd that happen?
And I imagine like this thing.
You know what?
This thing wasn't cheap. I imagine this thing wasn't cheap.
I, for one, like women writers in Hollywood showing us what they really think. I love it. She-Hulk, great. Love it. It's
I heard
so
that
good.
got terrible reviews.
It's awful.
She-Hulk is just bad because the main character is two-dimensional and unsympathetic. Mainly because I guess the writers of She-Hulk wrote the character. They're also two-dimensional, shallow people and unsympathetic. Her entire character is just, I wish I could say and do whatever I want, and then if anyone said anything, I could just be a big green lady and beat the shit out of them. That's basically it. She can do whatever she wants with no consequences. She-Hulk.
Girl boss energy. Girls get it done.
She's not a good person. She's two-dimensional. There's basically nothing interesting about their character in general. It's just,
you know, it's funny.
That's a
it's
big
funny.
problem
Most
with,
people, most people
it's literally
say,
just the writers living vicariously.
So
through She-Hulk.
here's something funny though. Everyone says the CGI for like all the special effects for She-Hulk are awful, and they are. But I think she looks better as She-Hulk than she does as her real self. I don't know what it is. Like they do not make her look flattering at all.
Man, I think
green.
that's by design. I think they like
Okay.
The worst part is, I don't think the actress who
look at
She-Hulk is even
I think
stuck with a bad character.
I think that's the part of it. I think if like you were trying to do something where like you want the focus and the moral to be like, look how beautiful this power is. That's what it is. That's what I think this is. Like, she's not. She is.
You're only pretty when you're a bitch.
It's actually really not a cool message. It's basically saying
no.
It's like you are ugly unless you are apparently acting like a bitch in this movie.
Empowered.
Like, that's what
it's
it
a
is.
TV show, but
Or TV show. Sorry.
well, Disney Plus series.
Yeah, it's
So
all
the,
becoming one product.
yeah, that's a terrible message to send people.
Well, it's different because like look at male version of Hulk, right? Like the old version, like he has to struggle with this power. Like it's not something like
There was a plot.
yeah, there's a plot.
A
There's
character
He's a
arc.
flawed character.
There's a downside to being the Hulk, right?
But I imagine
With
she
her,
starts the movie as
nothing.
like just the
No
top,
problems.
like
No problems at all.
No
like,
problems.
except anybody that says you can't cut in line. Like
I even think she like talks to Bruce Banner. Oh, you don't know
what
what
it's
I've been
like.
through. You don't know what it's like, or something like that.
I have
And
to
it's
control my
literally,
anger
like,
every day.
did
the guy who broke Harlem, like he did not because he wanted to, but because he
please tell
lost
me
control.
like Bruce Banner just did like the .exe stopped
No.
working face, just like
No, apparently she beat his ass.
So-
First fight ever.
I don't I haven't paid a lot of attention. The
all those anything past I say Iron Man has just been terrible.
well, it keeps like Marvel just keeps getting.
yeah,
They just keep releasing new shit that's literal garbage.
it's terrible. Thanks Disney, appreciate the help,
Like
appreciate that.
and people who aren't critical about like you can enjoy whatever you enjoy the Marvel stuff, but
Let's
the people who I know like who actually enjoy the new stuff aren't very like critical of it at all. They just like
Ooh,
the
flashing-
emotional feel good thing.
flashing
like-
colors.
My mom was like, "Oh, have you seen Black Widow?" I was like, "Part of it because it sucks so bad."
I remember this.
Yeah,
turned
we,
it
we
off.
tried watching it. Yeah,
Man,
we
it
turned
wasn't
the
just
shit
a bad
off.
movie. You guys made it worse. Like
It was
truly,
awful.
It was
No,
bad.
we couldn't
was
shut the
really
fuck up.
bad.
It was that bad.
Yeah.
We had to critique it. It was that bad. We
So-
had to critique it live the first time watching it. It was that awful.
dude.
Because you normally like if a movie's like okay, you watch it through and you watch it again and then you can start picking apart because you can realize it. No, everything that was wrong with the movie was bad from the start, and you could just tell. You're
The
like,
characters were
what the fuck?
bad. It was on that like whole man bad, woman good. Like you
Yeah.
can't show a
Haha,
you can't-
uterus joke.
You cannot show a competent man,
In
especially
any of those
like as
movies.
a villain. Like there's basically nothing fucking going on in the movie, and it's just
I think
a
we
bunch
turned
of
it off the part
shitty
where they were
jokes.
like breaking out of prison.
so.
And they made a uterus joke, and it was like, haha, isn't that funny?
I don't remember specifically. I think they
Trauma dumped it.
I think
Yeah.
they were going into like the joke about men don't know this.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Like-
I think that was the final straw.
Like
I
they were
think that was the
explaining
final straw.
What's it called? A hysterectomy or
Yeah,
whatever
a
when they rip the uterus
hysterectomy
out.
and like what's the uterus, what's the fallopian tubes, what's the ovaries? Like the guy was just like, oh, don't fucking, where's the clitoris? Like that
Yeah.
kind of level of retardation. Like yeah, and then we were just like, okay, that's enough of this. Yeah.
But my mom ended up being like, "Oh, why didn't you like it?" When I just started telling her how bad it was. She's like, "Oh, why didn't you like it? Because it's a strong female lead character." Like, they're not good characters.
This is the thing, is
there's
like-
nothing sympathetic about it. And this is the thing. I really really wish that people could write like actually sympathetic female characters. And I'm looking back at it, and almost all of them in modern cinema, they're not good. Like I miss. Like Jane from Breaking Bad is a really good character, right? I really wish there were good characters out there, but it's all like,
Jane,
well,
not that bad. Even though she was a side character and you didn't see much of her, like the parts where she was interacting with
well, you see
the
a lot
environment
of her
was
for
cool.
like
Is that
half a
Jesse's
season.
girlfriend?
Yeah. So there's, and I can't think of any other like really good characters, but I know or from video games, Sadie's not that bad. Like there's basically lots of really good ways. To make female
It's
characters.
just lazy writing. And
But
that's
then
what
all
Marvel
of
is
all
right
of like
now.
the female leads, like Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, one
Yes.
they're 2-dimensional, right?
Absolutely.
The big bad can't win against them because you can't show like a man beating up a woman, right?
I heard
can't
that.
do that. Can't show competent men. Everyone has to be either like
It
a
was-
subservient, whipped servant, or they're
was the end game, right?
incompetent.
Where like
Oh,
shows
the
up
girl power moment.
she, like, fucking flies through a whole ass battleship.
No. Remember when there was like all the females got to do like a whole like 2-minute segment?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, like
They
march
line up
in.
and they charge Thanos, and then they
Yes.
just lose.
Yeah.
And he gets rid of him in like 2 seconds. Like you took everything from me. I don't even know who you are.
I don't even know who you are.
Maybe they're not wrong. maybe
But he said this yesterday, and I told him, like, I remember a strong female character from like 10 years ago. There's this movie called Salt, right? It's about like it's Angelina Jolie plays a girl who was orphaned in the Soviet Union. She became like a super super spy character thing, right? And at first, she's more than willing to participate in the whole destroy America from the inside kind of thing. It's the typical Hollywood, like, find the double agent real fast. Oh shit, what's going on kind of movie.
Right.
But then, like, midway through, they kill her husband, and she's like, oh, I actually like that guy. Fuck you. She's like undoing the plan to undo America within the plan. But like, he actually kills people. And like, it's only because she takes advantage of every situation she can, like manipulate. She only gets the better of all these men because
And,
they're not expecting it.
Immediately right there.
And it's like,
There's-
she has to be smarter than them, right? She has to be more cunning and devious.
Just what you
And
described
the
right
only
now.
time she physically overpowers a man is when she's in handcuffs and she jumps off a railing and she fucking snaps his neck with her body weight because like he can't go over the railing and she can. And it's like, okay, that was a pretty good fucking. And you know what she does? She fucking screams in agony because she broke her arms. Right? That's what the scene plays out as. And
Just
it's
what
like,
you just
but
described.
if you did Black Widow, she would just kick him with her high heels and he'd be dead.
Yeah.
Instantly.
So what you just described there, and by the way, like, oh, it's not
Salt-
different. She's a
Salt's a good
superhero.
movie.
No, she's a normal woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's just really good at martial arts. That's it.
Yeah, she doesn't have a single
Yeah,
superpower.
She's just Black Ops.
she's just a
She
woman.
does Black Ops, which is
Yeah.
a shame because that would be a cool character.
Yeah,
Like imagine
which would make her so much more badass.
Imagine
if like
a-
she you can see her getting injured, and she was doing it
like
to get her goal,
like
or like
concept-
save somebody.
Like conceptually speaking, consider this: a Black Ops soldier who can keep up with a old like god of old, right? Like that is an interesting concept. She's so like dangerous and ruthless that she can keep up with Thor, who can fly and shoot
Right.
lightning.
right.
Right now, if you could do that correctly, that would have been epic. But
Right.
instead, it's just girl power.
Well, I mean, it's all
Let-
the weird gymnastics.
Let
and
me
stuff, but-
what you described there in that character was like, it's great because it said like her initial story is like, oh, she is assigned to like destroy America from within. They do something bad to her. Oh, the plan changes. Now she's going to go against the people that gave her the job to begin with, and it has her motive.
And they're all childhood friends, right? They all know each other.
Oh, even more
so
combative.
There's
like,
a little bit of
I
drama.
knew you. You betrayed me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great. It's already great. Much better writing than that
Salt-
I
fucking
think the first time
retarded Black Widow
the first
movie.
time that I really noticed how like people don't write good, like female leads never end up as like good compelling characters. Like they never have to learn anything. They're
Yeah.
always like basically just good
There's
at
no
everything
character
from the start. They're two-dimensional people, or they're just bad people in general. Like they're unsympathetic. Like I wish the villain would win because the villain is more sympathetic than the hero. Like Legend of Korra.
oh,
I remember I loved the premise of the first season of like, oh, it's like 1920s, but with the bending. It's all the
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
that I
yeah,
liked
exactly.
before, but it's like a new like technological era. This could be really cool. But
Yeah.
because Korra is such an insufferable bitch who is manipulative, and she makes like any mistake that she makes, it's just I'm the Avatar, deal with it, right?
Yeah.
It's just she can't do anything wrong,
is
even though she's literally
so-
responsible for like thousands of deaths. And
Yeah, because like how many scenes where like the city like gets leveled in majority of places?
then it's like, oh, I made a spirit cannon, which is only possible because you decided to go against like 10,000 fucking years of tradition and open up the spirit world
Yeah.
to the real world, and then
Yeah.
people just die.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just deal with it. I'm
which
the
is
Avatar.
like such the like those were still that whole series was still written by the people that did Avatar.
except for like one guy. It was like two of the three.
They're like I think there's like one or two people who are like really
Yeah.
responsible for the good writing of Avatar, and
They
the
were not
people who
present.
are involved in it now are the like they were on the artistic side of it.
There's an animated film coming
I
out
forget.
now.
There was,
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I saw the news. They are making another Avatar from like the actual Aang and crew,
Really,
I'm
and it's from the Nickelodeon studios.
skeptically optimistic.
I am too.
well.
I
The
would-
greatest thing is like one, it doesn't sound like it's gonna be done by.
Do you
M.
remember
Night
Katara?
Shyamalan.
Katara was a strong female character that was actually worth
Katara was a
Sam.
really good
was-
character, actually.
There it
Holy
is, yeah.
shit! She
Yeah.
cared about her friends
Yep.
and her family, and that was the most important thing to her
The-
was keeping the team
one,
together.
one of the biggest things
Whoa.
is like
I
writing.
absolutely love Toph as a character.
Toph
Toph
is
is
amazing.
great.
She had
had
so much
no character
wisdom.
arc.
Yeah.
There was no character arc to Toph. The only arc you could even talk about is when she like learns how to do metal bending.
And she was like really decently done comedic relief too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm blind.
Azula,
Yeah.
She do that shit,
Azula
like, all
is
the
a
time.
great antagonist
Oh my
because she's
God.
Because she
fucking
can
nuts,
win,
and she's
insane,
powerful.
right? Like
right?
that's all you need to know about her is that
Think-
she's
Literally-
Hey, think about this. Think about this. Between Ozai,
Yeah.
Zuko,
Right.
his sister, and his uncle, they're all. Oh, sorry. Those three, except Zuko, they can lightning bend. He never learns how.
Yeah.
Never. That
Except-
Well,
no, no, no.
I've never read the comics.
they,
Maybe he
they
was.
handicapped the
no.
character, and they were like, he had to grow. He had to get over that.
He kind of did, because in the very last bit where
no.
like
You,
the
no,
redirect
you
thing
can
doesn't
redirect chi. That's not lightning bending.
well,
Yeah.
So,
Summoning lightning.
and
is
then that was
different.
another thing in Legend of Korra. It was like a really hard thing for people to do. Like you had to
Everyone's
be like
doing
super
it.
good. Now it's just like, oh, you're a firebender. Go work at the power factory.
Same as metal
Make
bending,
lightning.
right? Metal bending used to be like a
Yeah,
1 in
super
10.
Okay,
thing,
but
but now you're just a police officer. Fuck you.
They kept metal bending to be like a small, like not everyone could do it. Like it was like the SWAT team, right? Like not every police officer is a SWAT officer.
like special
Right,
forces
right.
of the
Yeah.
metal.
So it was
of
still-
the
it was
metal-
still
of
kind
the
of-
I
Earthbenders.
guess.
From what I like, I watched a good few seasons. But I think I stopped at like season
Dude,
3 or
Zahir
4.
is definitely the best villain of the show, though, because
I
like
never watched that far.
Yeah, I didn't watch that far. I watched like 4
he
episodes.
was an airbending LARPer until like harmonic convergence actually endowed him with airbending.
No, truth be told,
Well,
like
he was
I
like a
watched,
martial arts enthusiast.
The LARPer.
No, truth be told, I
He's a
watched like
super
I think
fan.
I would overestimate like 4 episodes, and I was like, wow, this is the same.
So
No.
it's
I
not
left.
the same, but I liked
and I went to YouTube
liked
just
a
like
lot of-
look at clips.
a lot of parts of it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
So
are
even
like
though,
some good concepts.
like from the get go, Korra I didn't like as a character. That's okay for like me to not like a character,
Yeah.
especially in the beginning. You would expect for someone
Yeah.
to maybe unlikable or maybe something's wrong with them or they have to get.
i.e.
like-
Zuko.
No, well, Zuko maybe
Was a
but
good
the
example.
the best example is Sokka, in my opinion, from the first show. Sokka is an insufferable fucking
Yeah,
asshole
he was
for
arrogant.
like the first season.
yeah, arrogant, naive.
And he has to learn that
Yeah.
his worldview is correct and be humbled by like, Yoshi warriors, and he has to learn to accept that, you know, because he starts out as like sexist, and he learns that okay, these women are actually capable, smart people, and I can learn from them. But he humbles himself, or he gets humbled, and learns the way that they fight, and you see that throughout Sokka's entire character arc is that he is
him learning.
It
was
is literally
a
him-
journey of him learning.
It's a journey of him learning how to
Yeah.
be less of a jerk in general, and that he doesn't know everything, even though he may have been the best warrior in
which
the
is really
village because all the other ones left. But
which is really cool because like we also have Aang, who is learning, but in like a completely different realm. Like yes, Aang was like challenged with having to master all 4 elements, but like Sokka was like had to master his ability to not be fucking misogynistic
yeah,
and be like, wow, let me learn these things. And I think the climax of his character arc was when he got that meteorite.
Oh yeah.
it
Oh
really
yeah.
was when he shows up to the master's house, and he's like, "I'm no one special."
He that was the full like reveal. Is like this is who I am. I am just a guy, and that was so that whole episode was so.
It's one of the
beautifully
best
done.
episodes.
Now,
One
one
of
of the
the
things I
best
hate
ones.
about it is the fact that they put themselves, and they had like the planned out fucking like candy colored schedule that they had to follow, and then all of a sudden you're just like, "Yeah, we're just gonna take a day," and it's only like a couple days. Instead, it should have been like months. So in my head, it's like weeks that
Yeah.
he's there.
Head canon.
learning
It's
this.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in the actual show, it's like 2 or 3. So
Beautiful episode. Like that was like a notable point where like Sokka really became like the end state that we saw toward the rest of the show. Is like him. I'm just a guy, and I'm the product of other people giving me knowledge. That was so beautiful.
I have a note about Toph because we talked about people having. I wanted
Toph
to say
had
that Toph is a 3-dimensional character. She has vulnerability. She has flaws. She doesn't really change throughout the show, but there's things like she's worried that she's not pretty. She's blind. There's like other things in there. Like she is not just like on the face, just Toph, or like, you know, not just the blind bandit. She's not just that persona of like a tough earthbender, even though
The
that's
boulder.
What? No.
even though that's how she tries to portray herself as
Her-
the character in the show tries to portray herself as 2-dimensional. There is something
No,
beneath
there's
the
actually,
surface.
if you look a little bit more, in the very first episode where she was introduced, right? She like saved Aang from like the fucking gladiator, whatever the fuck.
Actually, the first episode that
They-
she was introduced was in the episode The Swamp.
so
So you don't know what you're talking about. You're not a real fan.
She had to prove to her father's like, no, like let me go help, and she goes to help, and she proves to her dad. So like there's a little bit of that, like no, I'm not fucking helpless. Goes kicks ass, right? And then if you notice, like throughout the rest of the show, it was her always being underestimated. It was always people being like, oh, she's not a threat, and then she having to prove them wrong. Until by the end, like everyone knows her name
I mean,
as the greatest earthbender.
I think
Walker.
the only time that the gang actually underestimates her, and it's not the whole gang. It's basically just Sokka and Katara, I guess. But mostly Sokka is when she shows up to fight the boulder. And like Aang's just like, she's badass. I want her to teach me. But
Really
I like Toph as a character.
When exactly did you know you didn't? I know when I realized.
So at the beginning, I was hoping that she was unlikable on purpose. Because there's a lot of times where heroes, if you look at the beginning of the movie or the beginning of the series,
They're
immature, or even like throughout the whole series. Like Breaking Bad, I think is a good show. I'm watching it right now with my girlfriend. She hasn't seen it before, and I've seen it like once or twice before. Walt sucks.
They made
Walt's a bad person. He just is throughout the entire show, and I don't like Walt. Like, he's a well-written character, so I don't say I dislike him as a character. But if he was like a real person, I would hate him.
Another little micro
But wait,
character arc of Katara.
When did you know you hated Korra? When was it sealed for you?
Honestly, the way that she tried to get at, I forget the name, the two brothers. There's like Bolin and someone else. Mako, yeah, Mako and Bolin. When I think she likes the firebender, Mako, so she uses Bolin, and Bolin's
Dude, that's the exact moment I hated her.
Bolin's like,
fuck.
Bolin's like a retard.
Nice.
Like Bolin's, well, okay, Bolin's
Naive,
I
little
say
nice
retard.
dude.
He's naive. He's not very smart, but he's a good person.
Yeah.
Right? And
He uses him.
Didn't do shit to her. She's like, I just want Mako to be jealous.
Before we close, before we
Conniving
close
little
the podcast,
bitch.
I want to add another little micro character arc of Katara. When Katara starts teaching Aang waterbending, and Aang just had like the natural knack for it,
she
got
gets
fucking
jealous.
pissed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because for the longest time for her childhood, she was the
Self-taught.
only waterbender in her entire tribe, right?
because her-
Self-taught.
So she was the
Everyone else
best
was
by
genocide.
proxy. She was the best by like default.
Well, it's not that she was the best; it's that there was no one to teach her.
Exactly.
And
that's
so
what I'm saying.
Aang is already like, so he was partially, I think, because he was the Avatar, and even though it was like subconscious and he didn't know it, it's like in the past he'd learned airbending before. So when he like shows up out of the womb, he fucking skipped the tutorial and he just knew how to airbend.
That's the
so
thing.
by the age of 12, he was already an airbending master.
For Katara, it's different. She had to learn by herself or whatever, right? And here she is giving Aang what she learned, and he just picks up like that.
Realistically, it's another fluid. It's not that different
But
from air.
we have to close out the podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. And as
I
always,
could go on about.
have a good one.
I could go on about this for